So when I mean investing community, I mean to say the community which you made through Safal Niveshak. So take us through its initial days. What made you start Safal Niveshak? What were the biggest challenges you faced? Who were some of the key people who helped you then? And what were some key learnings you got out of this whole process?
So if I remember right, I in fact started Safal Niveshak website in a local train in Bombay, right? So that was way back in 2010, right? Before I quit my job. So I did not really start my website very actively, right? So I initially formally launched Safal Niveshak in July 2011, which is just around like 15, 20 days from now, right? So 9th July is when I started Safal Niveshak. I think the idea of Safal Niveshak came in 2008, as I mentioned, right? The seeds were sown there that you being an analyst, you are not the master of the universe. You end up making a lot of mistakes. And if you are recommending stocks and if you're researching and you are advising people on stocks, and those people could be anyone of any age, right? You're not really sure about who's going to buy your recommendation. You may actually end up causing problems to them, right? Because a stock or an investment advice is not same for people of all ages or people of all financial backgrounds, right? Things are different for others, right? So you have to be person specific and not stock specific. That is what I've understood. Right. So 2008, when the market crashed, you realize that you were not master of the universe, right? And you need to avoid making a lot of those mistakes that also get other people into problems, right? So that is where the idea of getting down on ground, helping people learn how not to lose their money, right? Because I've seen my family and a lot of distant relatives lose a lot of money in 2008. I had, in fact, when the Reliance Power IPO came up, right? We were the only house, and I was the analyst over there, power analyst, and I think we were the only house in India, research house, who said avoid Reliance Power IPO, and we were like castigated, right? What are you guys saying? In fact, before the IPO and after we released the report, we were in fact called by the Enforcement Directorate to, and they were questioning us why were we giving a void on Reliance Power IPO. Just imagine a government agency calling us to question our view on on a private company's IPO. So you know the kind of clout Reliance had at that point of time, right? So but we stuck to our view, and it paid off, right? I had a target price of 40 rupees after doing a 25-30 year DCF, believing that 25-30 years mein kuch to aayega, right? So 25-30 years DCF we did, I did in fact, and then there was the target price, the intrinsic value was coming at 40 rupees, and nobody believed us, right? So my family got saved because my father took my advice that time, right? And I realized that time it was so important for me to go on ground and help people learn how not to lose their hard-earned money in investing, which so many of us have seen in our families, in our distant relatives, some other friends. So that was the genesis of Safal Niveshak. In 2010, as I mentioned, once I repaid my housing loan, I offered my job, right? In the sense, I gave up my job, I quit my job. I had some idea that I had to write articles on value investing. There was so much wisdom from Buffett and Munger that I had read in the previous few years, especially after the market cracked in 2008, that I thought that nobody was doing this kind of a thing in India in terms of simplifying the lessons of these great investors and the principles and bringing them to the individual investor, right? So I did not have that kind of knowledge bank, or not that kind of wisdom bank for me, except buying expensive books or buying Poor Charlie's Almanac. In fact, if I remember, in 2007-8, it was priced around 2,500, right? And I could not buy that book because it was too expensive that time, right? But I got to read that book through a friend who offered me that book for some time, and that completely changed my perspective, right? So the idea of inversion took roots there, how to not lose money, right? In fact, instead of always trying to earn a lot of money, I think that was the point where I learned that inversion is such a powerful thing, right? Mental models are such a powerful thing. So the base was built that time, right? I had no idea how I was going to earn money, whether people are going to pay for reading articles on the website. No idea. Nobody was doing that at that point of time, right? There were websites which were doing personal finance stuff, mutual fund stuff, all those kind of things. But on stocks and value investing, was no website except Equity Master, where we were recommending stocks using value investing principles, right? So I started with the idea of launching a Hindi website, right? And that was the reason I thought of a name called Safal Niveshak, right? But then I soon realized, and it was good for me, that there was a much bigger market in India for people who could consume English stuff. And for me as well, though I am from a Hindi heartland and I speak Hindi at home, I could think better in English. I'm not sure that's the upbringing as far as the English medium education is concerned, fortunate or unfortunate. Right. So I thought that I could do better justice starting a English website, and that is what I started. Kept the name Safal Niveshak. I don't know why I kept the name Safal Niveshak, but I started an English language website. Just kept writing on a daily basis. I used to write one article almost per day. If you go to my archives and you'll see the first, I think 3 or 4 or 5 months, you'll almost find 25 to 30 articles per month, right? My idea was to just show up every day, just to write, just to keep practice what I was thinking, right? And the only readers of my website were my wife, my father, and a few of my friends who I forcibly sent my articles to read. Right, gradually, and as subscribers started coming in, trickling in fact, there were days, in fact, there were months where I had just one person signing up for the Safal Niveshak articles on a daily basis, and I used to be so excited, telling my wife, "Okay, someone has signed up, someone has signed up." Right, so in hindsight, those were really great days, right? When I look back, the struggle that I went through in terms of just writing on the stuff, even when no one was reading, I think that paid off, right? I got immensely lucky that I got to learn these things. Internet was really, I think the initial years, I would not say very initial years, but I think they were very early years as far as internet and blogging and professional blogging was concerned, right? So I think I was lucky that I started at that time. Uh, I have always been a loner, right? So I have not really, I've always shied away from seeking advice from people or talking to people. And that's the reason you don't find me on any WhatsApp group or Telegram group and all those kind of things. But also, as far as Safal Niveshak is concerned, I learned the technology. I built the website. I learned WordPress. I learned how to send emails. I learned how to write, right? Even till today, 11 years later, almost everything, or not almost everything, everything on Safal Niveshak, including writing, posting, publishing, website, right? Writing the book, getting the book edited, right? Packaging the book and sending the book, right? So from A to Z is something which I do single-handedly. I have my wife, I have my family for support, right? In the interim, Anshul had started working with me for 3 or 4 years. But then I have always been a loner, though a lot of people indirectly have helped me, right? Lessons from Buffett Munger. Then Professor Bakshi came in, and he was a good guidance over there, right? A lot of friends join in, but I've always done things my way. I would not say I think that is an arrogant way of looking at things, but I think I've always found solace in being alone and working my way in my time of my choice, right? So I think in hindsight that has paid off. I think I'm perfectly contented, perfectly happy, right? No guilt, no regrets, right? I've not really targeted Safal Niveshak to grow at a specific level. People come in, people go out, right? I sell courses. I don't really push my courses. I've never done any advertising on Safal Niveshak or anywhere else. Everything has been word of mouth, right? So I think by the grace of God, things have worked out well. So yeah, we are here talking about it.